All right, and our continuous coverage on that big story coming out of Pakistan is being tracked by WION continuously. 20 months after being imprisoned on false charges in Pakistan, Kulbhushan Jadhav will today meet his wife and mother in Islamabad. This will be the first contact he's had with his family since his unlawful arrest in March last year. His mother and his wife were expected to land in Islamabad around 11 a.m., but the flight has been delayed by over an hour. The meeting will be held between 1 to 3 p.m. Indian Standard Time. India's Deputy High Commissioner to Pakistan will accompany Jadhav's family on this crucial visit. Pakistan has called its decision to permit Jadhav's family to meet him based on purely humanitarian grounds, but it follows Pakistan denying Jadhav consular rights at the International Court of Justice hearing earlier this month. India has taken Pakistan to the International Court of Justice over Jadhav's arrest and conviction. It has brought the world's attention to Pakistan's sham justice system, through which Kulbhushan Jadhav has been wrongly convicted of spying by a military court and sentenced to death. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Khwaja Asif, during an interview to a Pakistani media house, said that Jadhav's family meet was allowed purely on humanitarian basis. All right, for more on this, I'm joined by WION's correspondent Raghvendra Rao, who's reporting from Delhi, and Pakistan Bureau Chief Taha Siddiqui. First, let's go across to Raghvendra Rao, who's reporting from Delhi. Good morning, Raghvendra. The flight is apparently delayed by an hour, but before this highly anticipated, the big meeting between Kulbhushan Jadhav and his family, Pakistan has sort of tried to build a narrative. It's trying to mislead the world by saying that it's consular access. What is India's take on it?
Well, good morning, Archana. Yes, right. This new thing that has just emerged only yesterday, Pakistan trying to assert that this particular meeting between Kulbhushan Jadhav and his wife and mother, they are now claiming it to be a case of consular access. Now, as of now, we do not have an official reaction from the Indian government on this particular assertion made by the Pakistanis. But the sense which we are picking up from the Ministry of External Affairs is that this is one point which is clearly debatable, because consular access is something which India has been seeking for the past almost 2 years. They have sought consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav more than 20 times, and each time Pakistan has refused to grant that consular access. Now, the fact that Pakistan is choosing to call this particular meeting as a concession which they are allowing to the Indian side. And we also heard the Pakistani foreign minister saying that this is a concession which probably India would not have granted Pakistan had India been in a similar situation. So clearly Pakistan is trying to build up a narrative wherein it is trying to make this meeting pass off as consular access, because it realizes that the matter is still pending before the International Court of Justice at The Hague. And in the subsequent hearings which we are going to see in the next few weeks and months, the Pakistan probably feels that it will improve its chances of having a face saver before the ICJ if it manages to pass this visit off as a consular access rather. But clearly we do not have an official position from the Indian government as of now. But the fact that Pakistan also has been saying that they have allowed this meeting on humanitarian grounds, and in allowing so, Pakistan is clearly attempting a face saver of sorts.
Right, Raghvendra, please stay on with us. We're also joined by Pakistan Bureau Chief Taha Siddiqui, who's reporting live. Good morning, Taha. How's the sense on ground in Pakistan? We are shortly going to air those exclusive pictures that we've got from the Pakistan Foreign Office where this meeting is going to take place. Please tell us the details of the movement. We know that it's a highly confidential location where Kulbhushan Jadhav is kept right now. So he'll be moved from that location to this particular building in Pakistan Foreign Office. Please give us more details, and also how's the Pakistan media tracking this development?
Well, to begin with, right behind me, you can see the door, which is basically the Ministry of Foreign Affairs building's door, where the family will be arriving from. As for Kulbhushan Jadhav himself, whether he's already inside or not, we're not sure of that. His location and his movements are being kept secret. But we do know that he is still under military custody, he will be brought here under military custody and then taken back to an undisclosed location. As far as the meeting is concerned, from what we understand, the flight was supposed to land at 10:50 a.m., but it has been delayed by an hour or so. So it should be arriving local time in Pakistan around about another hour or so. And that would be around about noon according to the Pakistani time. And then it will take an hour at least for them to clear through the immigration, another hour to reach this particular location from the airport. So we're seeing a time around about 2 p.m. That this meeting will take place. As far as the Pakistani media is concerned, we have a lot of the media presence is here. And as you were earlier mentioning that there's this sort of narrative building from the Pakistani media about how because an Indian diplomat is accompanying the family, this means it's consular access, but we have no confirmation from the Indian diplomat that this is consular access, or whether he will be even allowed to interact with Kulbhushan Jadhav. His sort of mandate is to provide security and sort of give that security cover to the family, and because they had some issues and those issues needed to be addressed with regards to their security concerns, and that is why he's accompanying them. So whether or not he will be able to interact with Kulbhushan Jadhav, that is yet to be seen. Also, from what we understand, the meeting will perhaps last for an hour or so. The media is right now, we are being told that the media will be allowed to cover their arrival, the family's arrival, and the departure of the family. The interaction with media of the family is not yet certain whether it will happen or not, but the Pakistani side wants that to happen, but we do not have any confirmation from the Indian side whether they want that to happen or not. Visuals from inside of the meeting will be shared by the media later on, and as of yet, no live coverage of the actual meeting taking place will happen, but visuals of those will be shared by the media subsequently.
Right, Taha and Raghavendra, please stay on with us. I'm also joined by our Mumbai correspondent Pragya Jha, who's been speaking to the relatives of Kulbhushan Jadhav. Kulbhushan Jadhav, remember, used to stay in, his family used to stay in Hiranandani in Powai. Eventually, they moved out of that location. Pragya, beyond this Indo-Pak rhetoric, the fight that's going on, charges and counter-charges, allegations and counter-allegations, this meeting is also an emotional meeting. It's the very first time Kulbhushan Jadhav's wife and his mother will be meeting him. What is the sense on the ground? You've been speaking to his friends, his relatives. For them, it's it's a ray of hope. After almost 20 months, the family is being allowed to meet Kulbhushan Jadhav. All this while they didn't even know how he was doing, where he was kept. So it's obviously a big moment for the family out there.
Absolutely, it is indeed a big moment, a ray of hope, as you just said. And since yesterday, the friends and extended family of Kulbhushan Jadhav, specifically his friends, have been here camping literally. As today, they'll be seeing a big day when his mother and wife will be they will be reaching Islamabad shortly. This will be the first ever meeting between the family and Kulbhushan Jadhav ever since he was nabbed, and he was then put in a military court there. And then we know the procedures that took place. But here I'm going to be joined in by one of Kulbhushan Jadhav's friends' wife here. So very close friend of Kulbhushan Jadhav, Subrato's wife. Ma'am, as you know, that today is the day that probably all of Kulbhushan Jadhav's friends have been waiting for. You are the wife of one of his close friends. What does this day mean to you? What does this day also mean for your husband, he being very close to Kulbhushan?
Yeah, I think this is the rays of hope. Like we are just wanting, that's what we are wanting. We are waiting for so long that at least somebody could go and see Kulbhushan, how is he. So today I think this is the one of the most memorable day today, and it has made a history also for India that wife and mother is going to meet after such a long time. And I think that is one of the best moment for everybody, for us. So that I can also feel that how that wife and mother must be feeling after seeing the Kulbhushan after such a long time, after hearing all such things about him. But today we are a little bit hopeful that we will see Kulbhushan very soon in our place.
That's right. As she describes here, a very emotional meeting that is likely to be today. Being a wife herself, she says that I can imagine and I can also fathom the pain that Kulbhushan Jadhav's wife.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you.
Sorry
to interrupt you. We are getting live images from outside Pakistan Foreign Office. These are exclusive images that WION has got access to. These are live images where that very, very important meeting between Kulbhushan Jadhav and his family will take place. The only Indian channel which is in Pakistan, WION. We are getting you visuals from Pakistan Foreign Office. All eyes are set on that meeting between Kulbhushan Jadhav. This is the first time in over 20 months when Kulbhushan Jadhav will be allowed to meet his family. Remember, all this while it was a highly confidential trial that was carried out by Pakistan. No access, no consular access, no communication was allowed to take place between India and Pakistan. No communication was allowed to take place between his relatives and him. And this is the first time in over 20 months when Kulbhushan Jadhav will meet his mother and his wife. Well, Pakistan claims that it's done on humanitarian grounds, but others are seeing it as a face saver because so far Pakistan consistently denied consular access to India. It was named and shamed at the International Court of Justice consistently. In fact, the International Court of Justice also came down heavily on Pakistan on why it violated the Vienna Convention that allowed consular access to arrested personnel. And this is the first time in over 20 months when Kulbhushan Jadhav, an Indian prisoner who's languishing in a Pakistan prison over false charges of spying, will be allowed to meet his wife and his mother. Right, Taha Siddiqui continues to report from outside Pak Foreign Office. Taha, please give us the latest. What's the activity outside Pak Foreign Office and what are your sources telling you?
Well, as of yet, the journalists are still waiting to get inside. All the journalists here were given a time for 10 a.m. entry into the Foreign Office, but it seems that there has been a delay. Many vehicles have been coming here. There've been protocol vehicles with security vehicles. The police vehicles have been entering inside. We do not know which one of them might be carrying Kulbhushan Jadhav himself, but the media is still being kept outside the building. We're still waiting for word from inside that they will be allowed to come inside. We're also getting information that there will be a press briefing after the meeting takes place, so somewhere around 3 p.m. When perhaps the meeting will be over. After that, there will be an interaction with the media of the Pakistani Foreign Office officials. There is heavy security. The road behind me, which is one of the main roads on Constitution Avenue, has been sealed from both sides, and only traffic which has access, security traffic and security personnel are allowed to be on that particular road. And then, of course, the media personnel are also here in great numbers. So everybody is waiting for a word from inside the Foreign Office for allowing us to access inside and then perhaps wait for the family's arrival and set up our cameras to record the family's arrival and exit when they come into the building and then leave afterwards.
All right, Taha, please stay on with us. We are still joined by Pragya and Raghavendra Rao. Pragya, I'm really sorry I had to cut you short because we were getting those live visuals from Islamabad. So, like you were saying, that it's an emotional moment for the relatives and family members of Kulbhushan Jadhav because all this while his whereabouts, every information related to Kulbhushan Jadhav was censored, filtered and blocked by Pakistan. And we just heard a relative, a friend of Kulbhushan Jadhav's wife who said that it's a very emotional moment, it's a ray of hope because finally they'll get to know how he's doing, what's happening to him in Pakistan. Yesterday there was a rally, there was a march that was organized in Mumbai for Kulbhushan Jadhav. Please give us more details about this emotional bit because all this while everything has been shadowed by this Indo-Pak rivalry, but we seem to have forgotten how the family, that emotion, that the weight that is carrying behind it.
That's right. Indeed, yesterday there was a human change formed after a bike rally that was, that was organized in support for Kulbhushan Jadhav, as his wife and mother will be meeting him after, a period of over 20 months. Now, I'm going to be joined by his friend Arvind here. Now, he's the best person who'll be able to tell us more about Kulbhushan Jadhav, as he is a childhood friend. Let's go and find out more from him. Yesterday, there was a bike rally that was organized you have been spearheading these things along with other friends. What is the feeling, what is the sentiment in your mind today?
The sentiments were running very high as such, because today, the occasion was that today the family was going to meet them at 1:1. Last 2 years nothing was happening. So it was a long duration of wait for us since they were meeting. So we wanted to show the whole world that we are in moral support with this family and the hardship what they had gone through. So that was the case, and then again we wanted to, there was a awareness kind of drive, whereas we wanted all the people around us in our locality to get to know what is actually happening and to come together and raise a voice against this particular thing, so in whatever way we can.
That's right. So raising a voice against this, because this is the very first time that on humanitarian grounds, as Pakistan has said, and after the intervention of ICJ, that this moment has finally arrived for Kulbhushan Jadhav and his family. And friends here, of course, are waiting with bated breath, I've mentioned earlier, to finally find out what's the outcome of this meeting. So Arvind, what do you really expect? What is next after this meeting? What will finally come out? Because it is only after the intervention of the ICJ that a meeting like this has now been organized by Pakistan. They've invited media presence, so they do want to, globally clear things up, clear, the kind of image that they have got, because they have denied consular access over 16 times. So what have you got to say about that?
This particular meeting has raised very high hopes among us. This has been happening after a long time, and in the way Indian government has been chasing this particular case, the ICJ intervention and the verdict coming in our favor, and they also saying Pakistan to allow a consular access, which up till now they have not given. So probably we see after this meeting the consular access also would be granted, because again Pakistan has to save their faces on many fronts. World is also, I guess, the way Indian government is actually approaching each and every one, so world is also twisting their arm. So Pakistan, somewhere down the line, maybe within 10-15 days, they will be allowing a consular access. That's what our hope is. So it's very positive news. Today they are meeting, and then again ICJ will be coming out with a verdict, which certainly would be in our favor. And then again the consular access and everything. So I see that soon Kulbhushan ji will be declared innocent and released from this.
That's right. I see that you've been mentioning that soon consular access will be granted, which means that you're not confusing this with the family meeting and a consular access. This is definitely not a consular access.
This is definitely not a consular access. Consular access is altogether different ball game, whereas Indian personnel officials go and meet one issue unhindered with total privacy. This is a family meeting. They had not met him for the last 2 years, so it's just an emotional meeting and nothing to do with consular access or anything like that. That is a different thing. I mean, Pakistan, this is just a meeting. Pakistan has to give a consular access, and this particular meeting also should go unhindered and total privacy till whatever time they want to speak to him, without any of their official being around.
That's right. So this really is the sentiment here, as I've told you now. His friends waiting to finally find out that when his mother and wife will be there, they'll be meeting that very crucial moment, because they'll be seeing him after a long period of time. They have no idea as to how physically he's been faring, his mental well-being. So today's meeting is going to be a deciding factor for a lot of things there in Islamabad.
Right. Thank you so much, Pragya, for that comprehensive update and reporting live from Mumbai on that big story. Let's now go back to Taha Siddiqui, who's reporting live from Islamabad. Taha, all this while, everyone was wondering why has Pakistan blocked and filtered communication so much? India not just consistently sought consular access, but in fact no evidence was shared with India on this regard. Pakistan went ahead with the trial, decided that Kulbhushan Jadhav was a spy, and then put him on a death row. All this while, has the Pakistan government come out in open and given its rationale behind keeping all this a confidential trial? What was the reason why Pakistan chose not to share any information with India?
Well, that emanates from the fact that it was the military that has done the trial, and it was the military courts that had conducted the trial. He has been in military custody from day one, and when it comes to the Pakistan military, their information sharing is very limited and very one-sided of communication. So we've seen that over the last 2 years that the information that has come out has been from the military media wing. The ISPR has released a video confession statement from him, and then later on the conviction also and the whole trial information also came from the military media wing, and that was the only information that was given to us. Even at the time when the information came out that he has been convicted and he's been convicted with a death sentence, it did not come through the Foreign Office, it did not come through the Pakistani civilian government, it came from the military. And other than that, the military has been tight-lipped about the details. They've said that we have, through Kulbhushan Jadhav, busted a network of people working against Pakistan involved in terrorist activities, but they haven't shared any of those details with with the media, or even perhaps with the civilian government that would have perhaps then shared it with the media. So there is a lot of secrecy and no transparency around the whole trial and around the whole process, which is sort of a general feature of how the military carries out its activities or its judicial process, and because of which there are big questions being raised about how fair was this trial and whether or not Kulbhushan Jadhav even had a fair chance of being legally represented at the military courts. Now, also even after that, we know that his review petition in front of the tribunal was also rejected, and now his review petition is pending in front of the Pakistan Army Chief. Rather, not his review petition, now his mercy appeal is pending before the Pakistan Army Chief, which is still pending, and we don't know what the fate of that will be. But overall, the whole case and the whole the last 20 months or 21 months that we've seen and followed this case through, there has been a big lack of transparency as to what went beyond and behind closed doors. Even right now, for example, after the conviction, according to the rules of the Pakistani jail and prison laws, one is supposed to be, somebody who's been convicted is supposed to be transferred to a civilian jail. But with Kulbhushan Jadhav's case, that has also not happened. So clearly the military is managing the whole affair, and because of that, there is this lack of information.
All right, Taha Siddiqui and Raghavendra Rao, please stay on with us. We will continue our broadcast on this big story. And we've been talking about consular access a lot now, because the Pakistan media and the government is trying to build a narrative that this particular meeting of Kulbhushan Jadhav with his mother and wife is consular access. But India is rejecting it. So let's now tell you what exactly consular access is. So consular access essentially means that an arrested foreign national be given access to a consul of his own country. It's an international treaty under Vienna Convention which defines consular relations between two independent countries. According to the guidelines, an arrested foreign national should be given a notice about his arrest, and the notice should also be shared with his country's embassy. A consul is not a diplomat of the foreign country, but a representative of the country in the host country. His job is to work for the interest of its citizen in that same host country. Now, consular access is significant for India in this particular case, in the Jadhav case, because he was sentenced, like we've been describing the case, as a secret sham trial. So he was sentenced in a secret trial in Pakistan. There is high probability that the trial could be a sham. Hence, the access can not only help Kulbhushan Jadhav and his family extend their legal rights, but will also give India access to Jadhav's version of the events. What happened, under what circumstances was he arrested? Because remember, there's a lot of dichotomy. Pakistan claims that he was arrested in Balochistan, while the Indian government has been claiming that he was kidnapped from Iran. He was a businessman. Pakistan claims that he was a spy. So a lot of these contradictory versions will be clear once India gets consular access, as Pakistan is claiming it's given one, but India has rejected that this meeting is not a consular access.